Hi, my name's Jay Wright. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Campfire, and today we're going to talk about how to do a great Campfire demo. Now, this demo is going to be focused on how collaboration works. So this is the best way to show other people how you can do collaboration from multiple different locations. First, let's talk about the setup. You're ideally going to have 3 presenters for this demo. The first one is going to be operating a PC connected to the large screen in your conference room. The second one is going to be using an iPad, and if you don't have an iPad, you can just use another PC. And Owen's going to be our user on the iPad today. Ideally, he'd be sitting down at the conference room table, but he can stand up and move around later. We'll get to that. And finally, you're going to want to have your headset user. So Alex will be using the headset in the demo today, and you're going to want to have that headset user standing up and ideally have some space around them. Now, this might be hard to find in your conference room, but if you can, maybe just make room, move some chairs away from the side of the table so that there's space that they can have the experience in front of them. Okay, that's your setup. And by the way, if you only have 2 people for the demo, that's fine. You can either get rid of the iPad and second PC, or if you're feeling daring, you can have your PC person operate 2 devices. All right. So first thing you want to do when you start your demo is you want to open up to just a basic model on one scene. We're not going to be jumping around between scenes. We're not going to be talking about authoring. We just want to show how collaboration works and make it as simple as we possibly can. So here we've got our RoboDog sample, our RoboDog in the middle, and you can see that we've already got Roy and Alex. Actually, this is Alex and Roy is Owen today. This may happen too. You may use different user account names for the people in your demos. Fine. And you can see both of them are in the project. As soon as you start the demo, have your other users join. We immediately want to show that people in different locations can all be in that same space. And let me come back, I just accidentally moved the mouse, reset my view here. And so what you're going to want to do is point out that everybody has their own view in Campfire. And you want to contrast this to sharing CAD over Zoom. As we all know, if you're trying to share CAD over Zoom, everybody can only see what the presenter is showing and sharing. In Campfire, everyone has their own view. Now, you'll want to point out that there's 2 types of users in Campfire. There's people that have headsets where we see their heads, and there's people that are using screens, and those screens can be a PC, Mac, or iPad. So sometimes this comes across a little strange. There's a rectangle floating around. What's that rectangle? Because the iPad isn't moving. You want to call people's attention to just panning around or moving around the scene on the iPad is what makes that rectangle move. Similarly, the head moves when Alex just moves and walks around. But very important, get that point across. Everybody has their own view and can control their own view. Now, the next thing you'll want to show is how you can follow a presenter. So there are often times in presentations where you might have an instructor or a presenter that needs other people to see exactly what they're seeing. And there's a lot of cases for this, but maybe it's like, hey, I want to look at this particular sight line and I need everybody to see what that looks like. Very easy to do in Campfire, as you know, but we'll just pick Alex and say, let's imagine Alex has asked us to follow him and look at what he's looking at. We're just going to come over here, we're going to click on Alex's icon, and we're going to say follow. And now we're seeing Alex's view. And you might also make the point that in Campfire, any user can follow any other at any time. So it's very, very flexible. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close follow. But we can see view from any angle. We can see that we can follow somebody. Now let's talk about tools. When people actually want to have a conversation to try and explain something, every user at every time has that laser pointer. So let's just make the point with this very simple tool. I'm going to come over on the PC with the laser pointer. I'm going to grab the laser pointer tool and I'm going to point at something. And then you can ask your other presenters to do the same thing. Now here, we're just making the point that by using the laser pointer and everybody having the laser pointer, there's no more ambiguity in discussions about CAD. It doesn't matter if I don't know what it's called for what I'm looking at, I can just point to something and people know what it means. That's laser pointer. Now, the other point you want to make after laser pointer is that while Campfire is great for everybody collaborating at the same time in a meeting, it also works very well asynchronously. So maybe people are in different time zones, working at different times of the day. And to communicate in Campfire asynchronously, we have the notion of annotations. So you'll want to demonstrate how we can create annotations inside Campfire. And I like to come down and just grab the text annotation. So I'm going to come down here on this message bubble and grab it, and I'm going to do something simple. I'm just going to create one and drag it out, and I'm going to say leg. That's what we call stating the obvious. There we go. And you'll also want your other demo users to do the same thing. So maybe they create annotations too. But very powerful, and lets other people know that you can create annotations here, which can be great for communicating asynchronously, but they're also great for putting a record of your conversation. So now in Campfire, you've got issues that you have discovered that become part of the permanent record. You might also point out that with those annotations, you can click on them and you can get a link to them. So you can copy a link to a comment in Campfire, send it to another user, another person in the company. They can open it up later and they're going to be dropped in right to the same place. And I think this really hammers the point that it makes it really easy for Campfire to fit in your existing workflow. You've got those links that you can use in tools that you've already got that point back to the Campfire projects. Okay, so once we've got through collaboration, let's move to the topic of presenter. We've shown the laser pointer, we have shown annotations, but there's also that broader set of tools that a presenter has to communicate more complex concepts. Now, as you can see here, we've got the yellow dot on top of Alex. He's our headset user. When you show presenter, focus on the headset user. That's going to be the most compelling experience to show. So, Alex, you want to go and maybe walk through a few of these tools? Some of the crowd favorites are Explode. So he's going to go over to Explode. And he's going to go ahead and explode the model. And you guys have seen this. I'm sure you've all experienced it and know how to do it. But Explode is a good one. And then after Explode, maybe you go and try Grab. And you might recall there's two different ways to do Grab. You can do Grab for things that are really far away with the Grab tool, where it gives you a sticky laser, we call it, to grab something. Or you can use the Grip Grab, which is the trigger on the side of the controller, which will just allow you to reach out and grab anything. Whichever works. Now, another great one to show is the cutting plane. So Alex, if you want to get your cutting plane and just start slicing through things, and you can see him slicing through. And if you want, you can actually follow him and see exactly what's going on. Well done. This one's a lot of fun. So those are really the basics, and you'll find once you get into these demos, there's probably zero chance you're going to make it through in the sequence we did and the time we did, because you're going to get a ton of questions along the way. So don't worry about it. Answer the questions as they come. And of course, as other people want to try, just allow them to switch places with your presenters so they can experience the iPad, they can experience the headset on their own. And of course, have fun. This is really a fun demo to do, and it's seldom that you get to show something that's so fun, but also can drive so much productivity. All right, so good luck with your demo. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through this on a call and happy to adapt this to your specific situation. Thanks so much.